Welcome to the cityCURRENT Show, powered by Hagen-Botham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, Andrew Bartolotta.
Welcome back to the cityCURRENT Show, where we bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, empowering the good in our community and around the globe. I'm your host, Andrew Bartolotta, and today we're thrilled to have Jen West, the visionary CEO and founder of Wild Fig Financial, joining us. After experiencing profound burnout in the corporate world, Jen took a courageous leap into entrepreneurship, establishing a firm that not only focuses on financial services, but also empowers real estate investors and businesses to achieve exponential growth. Jen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here, and I'm excited to get to be on your podcast and show. I really identify, with your mission of powering the good.
Thank you. There's a lot of synergy here, and I can't wait to dive in deeper. But first, start by telling us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to start Wild Fig Financial.
So I am your dry-witted, adventurous, scotch-drinking, neuro-spicy lending specialist. When I am not adventuring, you're probably going to find me helping real estate investors with Wild Fig Financial, working on my investment properties, and probably thinking of another idea to help real estate investors grow their portfolio. At Wild Fig, we help real estate investors define their goals, find their pathway to freedom, and then choose their lending strategy so that they can rapidly grow their portfolio. I started Wild Fig as a way of stepping outside the box and helping clients do the same. So we have this term in lending, it's the lender's box, and it's their specific criteria for what requirements they want to be able to lend. I have ADHD. I was diagnosed late in life, like a lot of women are, and it was really startling for me to realize that this box that I was operating in was somebody else's guidelines for success and happiness. And so Wild Fig was born after a season of burnout and realizing that happiness, success, wealth is really something that should be personalized and well-defined for individuals.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Now, when we talk about facing burnout being a significant challenge, what sort of specific circumstances led you to that point, and how did you navigate your way out? How did you identify and say, this is true burnout and it's time to move on?
So that is a great question. And I think it's something that entrepreneurs face very commonly. And it's being neurodivergent, having ADHD, you're much more likely to be self-employed if you're neurodivergent. So I think a lot of times it's hard for us to identify. I suffered from really severe burnout. So I had taken every job, every hour of overtime, every advancement opportunity from the time that I started working when I was a teenager. Once you get into lending, if you want to work endless hours, you've got that opportunity. So I got to the point where I was struggling to find time to sleep, struggling to find time to eat, and I started to really struggle with depression. I was honestly concerned with my mental health. And I just got to the place to where I knew I needed to walk away. I had savings. I was really blessed that I was able to. What was difficult is the person that I had to inform at that time essentially stated, if you can't hack it, just go ahead and leave. And so I felt a really incredible sense of failure and guilt and shame. On the outside, it looked like I was, doing really well financially, living the best life as like one of those cliches we say on social media. I think now I can identify the symptoms of fatigue sooner, and I can intervene at that time. It really made me look at why I felt like I needed success to feel like I had value or worth. And then it let me realize I needed to set boundaries and expectations on how I expected to be treated. I did a lot of therapy, spent a lot of time outdoors hiking and off-roading in my Jeep, hired a life coach, and just started to figure out, what does happiness and success look like on the day-to-day for me? And going through that process, I realized that I needed to be able to help clients, other people, other women do the same.
Well, thank you for being transparent and showing up unapologetically and sharing this very true experience that you went through. I myself have struggled with behavioral health in the past, mental health, and also identify that when I'm in nature, that it
Mhm.
really does have this incredible impact. And it really does help sort of bring about some peace, as well as addition to therapy, of course, helping as well. And so now you are really passionately talking about achieving financial freedom, helping others. Talk about how someone can start creating general wealth through real estate investment.
So I'm really passionate about financial freedom. When I went through that period of burnout, I realized that that looks different for everyone, right? Like on the outside, it looked like I had everything going for me, abundance of happiness, or an abundance of money, but not happiness. And so I think when looking to start building wealth in real estate, it's important to not think of all those images or ideas that just pop into your mind, because that's probably culture, society, like somebody else's definition. So I
Mhm.
think it's really important to start there. When we're talking about building generational wealth with real estate, it's done through a few different ways. So this can look different. It can be investing in multifamily properties. It can be single family to 4 unit properties for short-term, long-term rentals. It can look like investing in real estate for your business, car washes. So there's a lot of different ways you can do this, but it boils down to a few things. Cash flow. So cash flow is going to be the difference between your payments and expenses and the rent that you're charging. And then we're looking at appreciation. So property prices are going to continue to increase. And even more so, we haven't been building enough homes for the past decade to keep up with household growth.
Mhm.
For every 1% rates drop, it adds about 5 million buyers to the market. So in a lot of markets that have remained stable or in high demand, we're going to see the lack of inventory essentially drive home prices up even further. So your property is going to appreciate in value. Forced equity is a great way. It's essentially taking a property, doing improvements, renovations, rent increases to go ahead and increase that property value quicker. And then hedging against inflation is really important. So a decade from now, the dollar that I have today is going to be worth less. So essentially, when we're investing in real estate, that property value is going to be increasing. Your costs are probably somewhat fixed, your mortgage, your expenses to maintain the property, but rents continue to increase over time. The property value increases over time, and that combined factor is going to allow you to hedge against inflation. So that's probably the biggest ways we're helping to create generational wealth by investing in real estate.
I love just all the knowledge you have in this industry. It is
Thank
very
you.
to be able to talk with someone that you can can relate to, can also provide statistics that are relatable and help you really with all of this real estate investing, financial planning. Talk about some of the free resources that WildFig Financial offers to help those new to real estate or financial planning.
So I would say our biggest free resource is going to be our initial consultation with you. We believe in slowing down to speed up. So we really want to dive into what are your goals? This is going to be passive. It's going to dictate how you would want to, or what type of real estate you want to invest in. So our biggest free resource is just that consultation that we do with clients to identify what their goals are, what type of real estate is going to best fit that, and then creating a tailored plan to help them with that. We have something called the 3 and 30 method too. This is something that I created, and I realized that a lot of the clients that we were taking through that process were essentially able to scale and grow a lot quicker. So I titled it the 3 and 30. A lot of them were having 3 properties under contract within 30 days of starting their real estate journey. I actually did that myself. So we take clients through that. And then we also have a really exciting paid mentorship program, and it's going to be available for those clients who feel like they want a little bit more help and guidance.
That's wonderful. I love that you've been able to create that proprietary system in place and then have others succeed from it. Share some success stories, maybe 1 or 2 of clients or projects that have been particularly rewarding for you and your team.
So I have a couple. The first client that did the 3 and 30 was really exciting. She'd been taking courses for a couple years about real estate investing. And so after we talked, we focus a lot on building out your team. So you want to make sure that you're prepared when you start for the inevitable. Having a good CPA, having a good lawyer are really helpful as you grow and as you experience different challenges. So she had been investing in courses for about 2 years. We got in contact, spent some time going through that consultation process, and she was able to go under contract with 3 properties within 30 days of starting after taking courses for a couple years. And then I had another client who had spent 3 years applying for different loan types with different banks. Banks can be very narrow in their lending guideline. That's why we call it that lender's box. And so his situation was relatively straightforward. After talking, I immediately knew the product that was best for him. And so we were able to help him to start pivoting, change some life circumstances that had been difficult. And after 3 years of applying with different banks and lenders, we had him on the path to, get that next phase of investing taken care of. And it's stories like that that really excite me and drive me, just because there's so much available outside what we know our banks do.
Well, and it's so great to have that leader, that coach, that mentor to walk alongside you, something that feels so daunting and feels so unrealistic to the common person. But for you to come in and say, no, this is possible for the average person to gain financial freedom, to invest in real estate, and to build generational wealth, which is huge. And I also love that you're so passionate about doing that for women as well. Talk about some of the women's group that you've been involved with, and tout some of your successes, especially in the Knoxville area.
So it's always, women are just different. When, I think men are very, very analytical and factual, right? typically when I get on the phone with a woman, I am told within the first 2 to 5 minutes why they can't do it, why they're not qualified. And it's like I typically pause because it's funny, a lot of times these are women who are already real estate investors, or they're already very successful in, wherever their expertise is. And so a lot of times we're just pausing, reframing the conversation from the approach that I can rather than I won't or I haven't. So that's one of the first things that's really powerful with women. And honestly, I have to do this with men sometimes too. But in the Knoxville area, I've been able to be a guest speaker at Let Her Invest, which is a women's real estate investing class. I've also been a speaker at Women in Entrepreneurship. It's a really great local program that is essentially a resource for female entrepreneurs. I am a co-host of Invest Hers Knoxville. It's Invest HER. It's a national brand, and so I'm a co-host of our local Knoxville one. And so it's been really fulfilling to be able to get to speak and then work with other women who are interested in doing real estate investing.
What advice would you say, and what do you have for someone feeling stuck in their career and considering a significant change?
So if you're feeling stuck in your career, I think one of the biggest things that we do is we tend to think what can I do or what can I get, right? Rather than what are your priorities? Is time freedom your priority? Is financial freedom your priority, being able to go to the store and not have to worry about the price of something? So I really think that it's good to take a step back and say, what do I really want and what do I really need? And drill down 7 times. Ask yourself why, who, what, where. Keep going down. And once you're able to do that, I feel like you're able to approach the next step with a lot more clarity. A lot of my clients are people who have transitioned from their W-2 jobs, or their clients who are in the process of trying to get out of that W-2 job faster. Honestly, if we're scheduling a consult, it's one of the biggest things that we can do so we can create that individualized plan. And there's just some basic things. Typically, I recommend a reading list for some of my clients. And then we're going to build out that individual path, that individual plan. But I think taking that step back to see where your priorities are can really help guide the path that you take to move forward, whether it's a career change or starting to invest in real estate or growing your portfolio.
Well said. And I love that you both talked about financial freedom, but also freedom of time as well, especially as you grow your family and your priorities, or you're caring for an older adult in your home or your area. Time management is so key, and taking the time and effort to put on your calendar to sit back and assess what you want for your future. I'm preaching to the choir here, but when it's so important to do. So thank you for talking about that. Lastly, what puts a smile on your face when you look at the work that you've been able to do with Wild Fig Financial?
I think I really geek out. I really love that creative process. I get really excited and I always have to be aware of just slowing down so I don't start just rattling stuff off. But I really love the creative process with clients. And I think as a woman, when you're talking about your career real estate investing, it's really important to be able to say, I'm doing this for financial gain, because women a lot of times are afraid that they're going to be perceived as greedy, or vain. So I think it's really important to say, well, I'm doing this career for financial gain. I'm investing for financial gain. However, one of the things that I am incredibly passionate about is investing in others and communities. So as a real estate investor myself, I am wanting to create a safe home environment for any of my tenants. I'm also wanting to create an environment where they feel comfortable. And I'm going to do everything I can to reinvest in that client. Ideally, I want to get them in touch with who they need to be in touch with for that primary residence to become homeowners. I think that also investing in clients, friends, community, I'm always looking at that opportunity of how can I help others. And I think when we come from that mission-based mindset, it's really powerful what we can do, what we can achieve and help others with. So that's probably some of the things that put the smile on my face.
Well said, Jen. And we agree here at cityCURRENT. I mean, our mission is to power the good, and for you to have a social impact mindset. And how can I not only, have enough resources, financial resources to provide for my family, but how can I give back to my community? And that's what it's all about, is like, what can I do at the end of the day when I feel like I've hit that financial freedom, time management, to be able to say, now, what can I do to give back to our community, keeping rent at a fair price, safe spaces for my family and tenants, like super important. And just another way to, power the good, for lack of, phrase
Exactly.
there, and what you're doing. So how can people get in touch with you, Wild Fig Financial, support your efforts, get involved, work with you?
Yeah, so a few different ways. Wildfigfinancial.com is our website, and we have a link to our Calendly to go ahead and schedule a consult. My personal email is jen@wildfigfinancial.com. That's JEN @wildfigfinancial.com. I am on Facebook as Jen West, or our company name is Wild Fig Financial, and I'm on Instagram as the Jen West.
Awesome. Well, Jen West, thank you for joining us and sharing your transformative journey from experiencing burnout in the corporate world to really launching the company that champions innovative financial solutions and real estate investment, Wild Fig Financial. Thank you so much for powering the good in our community and around the world.
Thank you so much for having me.